Hello again, and thanks for listening to another episode of the Life at the Lake Campus podcast. My name is Josh Ricker. I've been interviewing a few students the last few episodes. Today I have Abby Ashbaugh. So, Abby, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem.
So, Abby is an avid Cleveland Browns fan, a top notch trash talker, but she's also an education major. So, Abby, how about you take a minute or two to kind of tell us about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Abby. I'm currently a third year student here at the Lake campus. I'll be graduating in 2025. And like you said, I'm an early childhood education major, so my degree will be in pre K through fifth grade for the state of Ohio.
All right, so you said early childhood education. Would you mind telling us kind of what is it that drove you to that specific area of education? What made you want to go to education at first, and then specify in that age group?
Yeah, so I have about six or seven family members who are currently in the education field. My mom is a special education teacher here at Salina. My dad taught at Marion Local High School, chemistry and physics. I have aunt who is a kindergarten teacher. I have another aunt who's a second grade special education teacher, an uncle who is a gifted teacher over at St. Henry. I have a couple aides in my family as well, so it's kind of like just in my blood. I love it. But yeah, what kind of drew me to it was just like the challenge that students give you. Like it's just truly awesome. Like, they come in and all they want to do is be loved by like the person. They may not get that home, or like they do and they just want to be loved by another person, and like the challenge they give you to like want to see that love is just awesome, and that's like kind of what drew me to it.
I just find that really kind of cool and just admirable when somebody has like that passion and they have a reason why they enter that field. So you kind of, got started with education and then kind of ran with it. So is it something that you entered college with, or did you kind of take a year or two? Like, did you know that this is where you wanted to start off?
Yeah. In high school, I took TriStar, which is around here, like local schools in high school can go and go to a certain field of expertise and go to another classroom to learn. So I started out at TriStar in high school, and that's kind of like what I've been rolling with since. And so the only college I applied to was the Lake campus because I knew I wanted to be here. And so I applied, and yeah, I've loved it ever since.
What was it specifically about the Lake campus then that made it seem like the right fit for you?
For sure, like how close it was and the price. I mean, I can look at other schools and look at their education programs, and yeah, they're great, but like you're not going to get the tight knit community around here that you are, like, especially in education, like, name's the game. Like, you have to know people in order to get the job, and like, the only way you're going to do that is if you're around people who personally know you, and the Lake is great for that because they know you and they're going to remember your face whether you were a freshman or a senior. It's great.
So having that tight knit community, it allows, as I've seen, I guess, over the last couple of years, it allows for us to have a lot of like really cool events that we can put on. Partly because the faculty members are able to interact with like students like you, because you guys are so willing to volunteer and get involved. And some of the things that pop in my mind are a couple of the events that Betsy Kreitz has kind of led the way on. So I know you've been involved in a couple of those. Would you mind talking about like what happens with that, how you get involved, who else kind of helps bring in some of the children?
Yeah, for sure. So there's multiple STEM nights throughout the year that are put on by the Lake campus through Betsy. The great thing is that it's led by the students. We write grants, and that's how we basically get a lot of our STEM nights done, is that the students write grants to our board, and they get the funding for it. So it's all student-led. Betsy's there to help you, cross your T's and dot your I's, but it's all led by the girls and some of the guys in our education program. Like this Tuesday, we're doing the Girls in STEM night, and one of the girls who's leading it is in my cohort currently, and she is doing, making decorative bags, making glitter, like all those things that involve science, but girls would be interesting, nail polish, all those things. And then they're doing a literacy day in April. One of the girls in my cohort's also helping with that, and that's just bringing in local authors for kids to, come meet, get a book signed by them, and just like enjoy reading. It helps them get engaged so much whenever you involve stuff that they like. they're willing to come. And it's really easy to get it out and about in our community, especially with social media nowadays. It's so easy for everyone to get there. I know last year Betsy said that there was over like 200, 300 people who went to the book literacy day. And it's like, that's crazy, just around this community. Like, the support we just show everyone is awesome. So,
Yeah, it's awesome to get that many students and other people in the community involved in something like that. So, I swear we didn't plan this, but just like a little plug since you brought it up, it's STEM night, like you said, is going to be this coming Tuesday, March 12th, from 5 to 7 in Dickey Hall.
Yep.
And all you have to do is pre-register, and it's targeted towards grades 3 through 5. So, a lot of cool just science, not necessarily experiments, but activities.
Activities that will get them engaged and things girls enjoy. So it's awesome.
Yeah, that's great that you guys are putting on something like that. And I know Betsy has helped with some other like intra-organization stuff. So her and I helped get together with Catholic Campus Ministries and put on the Santa Day event. So it's not just like people are in charge of taking the reins on their own, but we do a lot of help with each other here. So I appreciate all the help the education department's given us too. So kind of changing gears a little bit, you talked about getting out there, getting the job, knowing people. I know now from waiting to pick up my own daughter at school that you've been involved at the East Primary School in St. Mary's. Could you tell us about that a little bit? How does that work? Like, how have you gotten involved with them, and what kind of experiences are you getting there?
Yeah, so I got placed in kindergarten at St. Mary's. My CT, so CT stands for cooperating teacher, is Lindsay Hertenstein. She's been teaching now for like 10 years, so it's great that she's had some good experiences and is able to kind of relay good information to me. I've had 2 other placements besides that. I've been at IC in Salina, and I've been at New Bremen. There, I was at 3rd grade in IC and 1st grade in New Bremen. And I just think that, like, getting involved in, like, making your name known, not only to your CT, but the other teachers around them, other staff members, the principal, like, that's the huge part about education, is, like, that you want to see them doing good things. Like, you want your name to be good, and you want them to remember you whenever you are reapplying for jobs, because this time next year I'll be sending out resume after resume, and you want them to see you on a piece of paper and remember your name. Like, that's the huge part about education, is like just like making those good connections. My CT has allowed me to get so involved. I've been to multiple meetings, IEP meetings, which is like when a student's struggling in a academic area and they're put on this plan to help them better achieve academics. I've been to multiple staff meetings talking with the kindergarten about just different things that are going on. It can be as serious as testing and like assessments that we do with the kids, or it can be as silly as planning field trips, but it's all part of what goes on in education. So it's really good to see all those things and how they collaborate with each other. So
That's great that you get all that experience, like for the entire range, because I know just when you're trying to get your foot in the door, starting off a career, like people are going to look at experience. We often get tied up in the idea that you have to have straight A's and like this insanely high GPA, but a lot of time, like those are still important, but what else do you have? So that experience is awesome. I did want to ask though, something that's always been curious. I've been curious about what is the day like as, I don't know what your position would technically be called, but in your placements, like just an average day in the kindergarten classroom in your position. What's it entail?
yeah, so my CT is great. It's almost like we're co-teaching at this point. Like, we get to go back and forth. She sees me as an equal educator to the students. They come in at 8:20. They get 20 minutes to do their morning work. So morning work can consist of like, doing like a math review or a reading review. They have like a packet and they just flip each day. It's like a way for her to like keep it organized, because kindergartners can't just keep getting multiple supplies. So she does that, and then they have like kind of a relaxing time to like play with like bins of just different toys. And then in kindergarten especially, you have to go to the bathroom at least 4 times a day with those kids. Otherwise, bad things will happen. So, restroom breaks in there, and then we get started in calendar. And one of the big things that's being really pushed right now in education is the science of reading. So it basically focuses on how students learn to read best, and it's been really pushed in the state of Ohio to like start this movement. So we have implementations of like Hegarty, which is like a phonics integration, and that helps like students understand word sounds and how letters put together different sounds and make different sounds. So like Hegarty is a part of that day. We get involved. We have our specials each day. So like when I'm there, every Tuesday they go to gym and library, and Wednesdays they go to music, and then we get into another part of phonics, which is called UFly. It's a program. It consists of like writing the letters and not just like saying the sounds and everything, like actually writing them out. Whether that be on a marker board or using manipulatives such as like letters and like magnets and putting them together. And then we have like a math time where, they're talking about teen numbers and adding and just different things like that. And then in the afternoon, they have what's called common time, and that's like kind of specialized because it's put into small groups. And then the teacher can really hone in on like what areas the students are at level wise and what like they need to keep working on, because all students are at different levels. With 20 kids in a classroom, you can't hit every possible person in a whole group setting. So to really put them in groups is really important to like be at their level, and that's where they're going to succeed most in life, is whenever you put them there and you're giving them the supports they need. So yeah.
So many of those things you just mentioned, I've heard from my kindergartner, the pros and the cons of them, I guess. So, but no, it's great that you can clearly tell from the way you're explaining that you're putting the students first, and that's awesome to hear. So, just a couple more things to ask. First, it's a question I usually wrap this up with for everybody. Do you have any big pieces of advice that you'd want to give to anybody who's just starting to enter the education realm?
Oh man, there's so much advice. First thing I would say is get involved in everything you can. And I'm not just talking about like in the school, I'm talking about outside of it. Like currently, right now I'm a 4-H advisor. I teach religion. I help with a local Christian group, so I'm a missionary for that. Like just putting those things on a resume is huge. It doesn't matter where you're at, whether here or, a different state or whatever it may be. Like all people want to know that you're going to be involved in the learning of students. So by you being involved outside of school things, they're going to look at that and be like, you know what, this person would be a good fit because they're willing to go the extra mile. They're not just going to come in at 8 o'clock and clock in at 3 o'clock, clock out at 3 o'clock. Like they want to know that you'll be there working hard, and we're not trying to burn out teachers, but they just want to know that you're going to work hard for them, and they want someone good in their school system who's going to fight for their kids, which is huge. So definitely getting involved outside of school events is great. That would be the biggest advice I have for anyone in education, and just learning more about it. I have a lot of educators in my family, so I knew a lot about education, but that doesn't mean I'm stopped learning about it. Like I'm still consistently learning about new things going on, and education changes constantly. Like it's not a thing that just stays the same. Like, like I said, this big science of reading push, like that's all new in the last couple years, and it's like, yeah, you have to go with the flow, and you gotta, find the ins and outs of it, and you gotta work through it and learn new things from it. Right now we're going through a dyslexia training in one of our classes to help better our students in that, and just find out different ways to help them read better, and that's huge. So just never stop learning. Never think that you're done learning either in education, because there's always something new out there, and there's always something that you can learn something else, and you can even learn from your students. Humility is huge in this field because kindergartner I had a kindergarten tell me the other day, you look grumpy today. And I'm like, well, I guess I better smile more. So, yeah, like, they're not afraid to tell you what they're thinking, that's for sure.
That's the great thing about kids. They're very humbling.
Yes, like, and some adults, too. I mean, even Josh will tell you, sometimes you look grumpy. So, be prepared for that. But
yeah, usually I only tell it to my wife. And I
yeah. But that's the kind of advice I would say is most important. Get involved and never stop learning. So, yeah.
I think that's just great advice in general, just to never stop learning and to kind of be humble. And I love that you mentioned learning from your students too, because I tell my students all the time, like I love when they talk in class because that helps me learn. Because we all have different experiences. I don't experience the same thing you guys do. You guys teach me so much. So, last thing I want to ask about though, how sad are you that Joseph Daniel Votto is no longer a Red? No, just kidding. That's a throwback to a couple years ago in
I'm
class.
so ecstatic that he is gone. I'm sorry for all you
we're-
Votto fans out there,
We're
but
gonna have to differ on that one.
it
then,
is so nice that he is gone. Get a different first baseman in there. I wholeheartedly believe anyone can play first base. Get someone better.
No offense to any first base players out there.
Hey,
but-
I was one. I'm just saying
All right.
Votto
Well,
can go.
Abby, that was great. As every time it's ever been. It's been a pleasure talking to you. So,
Yeah, he never gets tired of talking with me. It's great.
oh man, that's it's true. But
Yeah.
all right. So we will wrap things up there. Unless there's anything else you want to throw in there.
Nope. I guess the greatest thing I can say is that I get to see your daughter every week that I'm there. I smile at her and like she's like, I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna smile back at you. It's great.
I've given her a heads up. I told her to watch out for you. but- All right, so we will stop things there then. As usual, if anybody has any recommendations as to the next guest or interviewee we should have on here, any questions you'd like me to ask, go ahead and send me an email. And until then, I will talk to everybody in the next episode.